10-minute beach scene with seafoam. First I need an atmosphere, so I'm going to put something bluish in the background. Let's put white on there. Hey, does anybody have a white that I could borrow? I just realized that I depleted my white on the last picture. All right, thanks a lot, Jay. Okay, I'm just adding some kind of an atmosphere, and when I add blue to this, it's going to turn very turquoise, and I would like my water to be more turquoise than the sky. So in order to really make that easier for me to do, I'll add some purple to the sky. That's magenta mixed with blue to make purple, because I'm just not using any purple paint at the moment. Put a little bit more blue on there. Sky is usually a little more turquoise where it gets lighter. Maybe a little bit more purple where it gets darker. Seems to be a common pattern that I see. And for this 10-minute painting, I'm not going to be too concerned about the exact color or getting the intensity of the color. So let's just get a nice light horizon so that I can see my water really well. These will just be some clouds and atmosphere in here. Now I'm going to put the horizon in place. So for the horizon of my ocean, I'm going to use something a little bit more purple than the rest of the water. So let's make a nice straight line across here. I'm going to do my best to make this straight line. It's kind of a fun little accident that that line comes out a little bit blurry. It looks like atmosphere movement. It's kind of disappears. Yeah, maybe a wave, maybe just a real distant background. So that blue is going to be a little bit more purple, and then the blue I put in the foreground is going to be more turquoise because I'm not going to add that magenta to it. So let's lighten that up. Maybe this is a reef that's catching the sunlight. Let's put more white on there. And you know, the key to painting fast is using lots of paint. So you're just moving paint around. You know, you just put it on there. I always apply first, mix later. Okay, we've got our light turquoise color for the bright water. And then for a beach, because I have to do seafoam on this, I'm going to use black and white, which is going to appear to be some light shade of brown when it's next to that turquoise, because gray, since it's a combination of all the colors in the spectrum that we see in light, it has the colors that this one doesn't, and so the opposite color becomes visible. It starts to look like a dark orange color instead of just gray when it's next to this blue. So I got to add plenty of white here so that it's light. It looks like the sun is illuminating that dirt right there. And then I'm going to add just a little more blue up here so that my deep water is darker than my not so deep water. I need the darkness of this. So being mindful of how dark each section is also a helpful thing. Okay, now to do a little bit of beach, I need a place to put the foam. I'm going to make a hard edge, which means that it's not a blurry edge, it's a real sharp edge. And if I add just a little bit more orange than what was in the black and white, then that'll really enhance the effect of some dirt coming out of the water, because more orange equals less blue. And so it looks like it's coming out of that blue water if I just make that a little bit more orange. It doesn't need to be super different, just a little bit different. And then if I put more white again under that, then I'll have the difference between wet sand and dry sand. Let's put a little bit more white right there. Now I've got my wet area, my drier area. It has the more white on it. And then if I take a little bit of light blue violet, which is a great color for reflection. I'm mixing that over here. I can put some light reflection on this wet sand.
5 minutes?
Oh, 5 minutes? Oh man, now I've got a little bit of reflection of the sky on my wet sand by putting that little bit of purple on here. So, foam is going to have shadows. So I'm going to put a little bit, anytime I make a shadow that has less sunlight and still has the color of the water, the sky on it, it's going to have to be bluer than what it would be in the sunlight. So I'm adding, over here on the left, I'm adding this blue violet to some black. And then I'm going to lighten that. And then I'm going to make some shadows here. Now these are the shadows of the foam on the water. And so I'm going to use really flat brush strokes, as flat as I can. And then I'm going to come back and do my pure white, maybe a white that is slightly colored by, what was I trying to say? Slightly colored by the reflection of the sky. I'm going to add a little bit of purple to that white. So let me put a few more of these shadows on. And then that's going to make a much more three-dimensional look to my seafoam. Let me rinse out my brush real quick. Now I'm going to do pure white over here. Not very pure because I've still got some color in my brush, but that's okay. I've got some of this here. There's a little bit of my blue violet color. I'll get a lot more white so I can get it nice and bright. Okay, now here's my seafoam color. And I'm going to put it right above these areas. Now the thing about seafoam is that when it pulls apart, it leaves skinny strands that point toward each other. So I'm going to put these shapes over the top of each other, but the theme that I'm going to try to have is skinny shapes that point toward each other and that are pulled out sideways. So this will go on top of here, like this. We'll put some more little horizontal stripes right above my shadows. Wherever I've got a shadow, I'm going to put this right above it. Whoops, missed that one. We'll put some right above this piece here. So I want to see a white spot above every gray spot so that I have a three-dimensional water line. And then, in order to fine-tune this foam a little bit, I'm just going to put skinny little strands that point to each other. I want to have every shape have skinny little strands that come off of it and point to the ones that it's near, which I'm having a hard time doing with this big brush, but it is just subtly happening here. We're going to have to settle for impressionistic.
2 minutes?
Oh, 2 minutes, man! Let me try to get better white right here. I'm going to get this strand connecting. Let's make this brighter. There, see that skinny line? I kind of have skinny lines pointing to each other right there, skinny lines pointing to each other here. It makes it look like it's pulling apart. The more you can make a shape and then put little skinny lines pointing toward each other. So let's make this foam start to come together as it comes into the foreground and make a big foamy edge on this water. Got the white foam right here. Let's get more of that white, and then let's put a shadow on it, right under it, with some blue violet. Let's put blue, then let's put some magenta, and that's going to be a nice shadow color under this foam. Oh man, I can feel that clock ticking. Probably only got seconds left.
Oh, the pressure.
That is precious.
Okay, so now we've got a little bit of shadow, and it's not a dark shadow. It's just a light shadow that's on there. Okay, I'm going to take the liberty to go over on time because I know I'm not going to hit the 10-minute mark. Man, but you still have to do the countdown so that I can see how close I got.
30 seconds.
Okay,
Ooh.
a little bit more blue and magenta. I want to get darker here just to show that foam. I want to see that edge. Here. There.
Yeah.
See that little bit of shadow? As long as I have that shadow real colored, then it'll look like that foam Okay, now I'm gonna.
9,
Oh,
8,
man.
7, yep,
6,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well,
That's pretty good.
it has the impression of foam, right? It has the impression
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
foam on the sand. So let's settle. I'm trying to encourage myself by abusing your friendship here. Give me a compliment. Tell me it looks good. Okay. So now all I'm doing to refine this a little bit is stretching these lines out, trying to find any shapes that look too broad up and down wise and stretch them out sideways because I want this to have perspective and everything just needs to be kind of flattened out. So I can make zigzagging S kind of shapes as long as they're real scrunched. So right here I've got one that I'll kind of zigzag this way, but I'm really pulling it out horizontally so that I have perspective, and then just looking for any little corner that I can make point to another corner. And then, of course, trying to combine that with the little shadows underneath. Okay, so then I have a dirt color that's under here. I can enhance this further by remixing my black and white. If I lose my shadows, which I did, I kind of lost the look of the shadows under the water. So I can mix this light gray now that doesn't have the blue in it, and I can put bright spots just on top of each foam area. This gray I can put on top of any white spot, above any of the white spots, to recreate the look of shadows. A bright spot of dirt showing through the water. And so, you know, my point is that I can bring out the bright spots here. Let's bring out some of the bright spots of dirt.